Hey guys, it's me Rebecca. So this will be the start of another weekly vlog, and so far today I've just done, I guess, a bit of spring cleaning. You could say I helped my mother just clean our coat closet out, like decide which coats still fit us and which ones can go and whatnot, or which ones should be put aside. So yeah. And I also did some reading of Blacktop Wasteland, which I mentioned in my previous vlog I was reading. And I'm on page 186, and shit has hit the fan. We see the job and how, I mean, they knew things might not go to plan entirely, something might be weird or messed up, and this isn't Bug's first rodeo. He knew there could be something that goes wrong, and something did go wrong as the manager of the store had a gun and shot at the robbers, who it seems like she did it to put up a fun, show that she's defending the store from whoever the diamonds actually belong to, because it seems that the store was a front for something else, and we see Bug wanting the police and disposing of the car he used, and how he is able to pay off loans and mortgages and help his daughter go to university, or at least pay for her first semester, I think, or tuition. But things quickly take a turn, in the sense, first, his competitor's shop burns down. The competitor and his father who owned the shop, or son, I don't really know who owned the shop out of these two, if it was a father or son sort of thing, but they accuse him of being the one who set the shop on fire, as A, he's the only other competition in town, and B, the police say they saw a black man running from the shop, and when after the fire was set in, Bug beats them up, and they're not gonna tell on him. A, the police said to let them handle it, and B, they're the kind of people who only brag about a fight when they win. And Bug confronts his older son, and the son, he meant well. He wanted to help his family, and he thought by doing this, he would help his father's business grow and get more customers in. Bug understands why he did this, but he didn't want his son to do it because he didn't have a choice but to become the man of the family and take care of his mom when his father left him. And he also did something to help his father that got him in a lot of trouble, and he doesn't want that for his son. But his son is worried that something might happen to Bug, and wanted to just start taking care of his family when he was able to. And Bug's son Javon is 12 years old at this point, and he has another son, Darren, who I don't really know how old he is, but definitely much younger. And we see people who are going after those involved in the robbery, and it seems like they're telling the police and the reporters that it was an attempted burglary, as they don't want the police to keep looking into something dodgy was happening with that store, and people are dying or disappearing. And now Ronnie and Juan, I believe his name is, the two men who were with Bug for this job, and Bug himself, have all been taken to this man whose nickname is Lazy, and to his makeshift torture chamber. And Bug was only able to be was taken because he had these men were following his family, his wife and his cousin, I believe it is, and his cousin's date for the night when they were out dancing and they were going home. So they have leverage over Bug, and I'm just curious about the words that Lazy wants to have with them, and what this shop was a fund for more illegal business, and how Bug is gonna get involved. So yeah, I mean, I do like, again, I do like how Bug, he has changed. Like, he doesn't want to be like his father. He doesn't want to have to abandon his family, but he also wants to take care of his family, make sure they're safe. And and that's my not point of view, but my other thought was, Bug is almost towing the line of going back into that old life. Like, he had his thrill of driving the way he did at night, and it gave him this high that nothing else gives him. And I'm very much curious on where that will go from here. So yeah, so far I'm liking this. Otherwise I wouldn't be reading it. Like, I don't know why I keep saying I'm liking it. I know I've had this conversation before 100 times, but still, this like, do I not know how to say anything else? Like, why? So yeah. But yeah, I think that's all for now, and I'll see you. So it's the next day, and I've done some cleaning and whatnot, and I have done some reading, and I did finish Blacktop Wastelanders now, and I'm gonna process this for a bit, but I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. We do get sections of them driving and whatnot, and the way that Bug is driving, I don't know, it just goes over my head. So there's that, but otherwise, like, I enjoyed this in lesson. I'm gonna explain why not in German. But we do learn that the jewelry store robbery job becomes a much bigger job, as they robbed the wrong jewelry store. In the sense, it was someone who was using it as front, and now they want Bug, Wani, and Wangy, Wani's brother, to rob this competitor of his, platinum of his, and give it to him. And he says he'll let them go, and Bug knows that's BS that he'll let them go. He's gonna kill them, but he and Wani and Wangy do this because it might mean protecting their families. And it goes to shit because someone double crosses Bug, and those men from a man named Lazy go after his family and shoot his son, and his oldest son has to protect the family son. And Bug, he goes to finish it. Kia obviously is pissed at him, and Bug thinks that this is the end, that after this he'll be dead. And he doesn't like anything, but he tried to keep who he is. Like, the guy who loves to waste, guy who's always in trouble, one who's always being the one, the getaway driver, separate from who he wants to be, which is this loving father, this good husband, and he cannot separate those two. He cannot keep them separate and be who he wants to be. He knows he is who he truly is. Like, he knows he gets a high from racing and from driving recklessly, and it is putting those he loves in danger, and he thinks that the only way to protect the people he loves is to do what his father did and leave. And he wants to do that, and she, I guess, accepts it, but she wants him to stay for a bit longer because their oldest, who did shoot the guys who shot their youngest son, might be released. There might not be charges pressed against him, but yeah, I think with the ending, it's like Bug accepting this is who he is. Like, he's left a lot of bodies behind. He's made wives into widows. He's made children lose their fathers, and he has to take no responsibility for that, but that he has to accept that that's what he's done, and there's no way of him to fix this. And the only thing he feels like he can do to move forward is to leave those he loves behind, to kind of isolate himself from them and continue being who he truly is. Like, he doesn't think he can ever change, and yeah, I am intrigued to see if he does change or if he does continues being who he is, like if he continues try to put on this front or not. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars, and yeah, and I think I'll discuss what book I'm planning to read next tomorrow when I actually have started it. So yeah, that's all for now. So so it's the next day, and I've done some work and whatnot, and I have done some reading. The book I'm reading is The Stone Witch of Florence by Anne Lushy. That's the actual book's right next to me. And this is about, in 1348, Ginevra de Gasparo has a gift. By harnessing the hidden powers of gemstones, she can heal the sick. By one word spread of her unusual abilities, she was condemned as a witch and banished. Now, as the Black Plague is ravaging Italy, the same men who expelled Ginevra are begging for her return. Ginevra, oblige. Assuming the city's leaders are finally ready to accept her unorthodox cures amid a pandemic. But upon arrival, she is tasked with a much different mission. She must use her collection of jewels to track down a ruthless thief who is ransacking Florence's churches for priceless relics, the city's only hope for protection. If she succeeds, she'll be recognized physician and never accused of witchcraft again. But as her investigation progresses, Ginevra discovers she's merely a pawn in a much larger scheme than the one she's been hired to solve. And the dangerous men behind this conspiracy won't think twice about killing a stone witch to get what they want. And yeah, with this one, I cannot do this one. I really need to invest in a good tripod. Oh well. But I am on page 82, and I'm definitely intrigued. We do get back and forth chapters, and I guess seeing Ginevra growing up, seeing her upbringing, how she came from a poorish family that were fishers, and we see how she's starting to become this apprentice to this woman named Vermilia, who is a stone witch as herself, and we see how she is learning from this woman and how this woman kind of helps her when she falls under the evil eye, and when Ginevra is at an age where she's starting to think about marriage, Vermeer sees that she is destined for more than marrying some guy who owns a boat and being a sailor's wife. And she's able to convince Ginevra's parents to send her to a convent to study and be in a place where it would be acceptable for her to learn to read and whatnot. And we are gonna see, I guess, the events that led to Ginevra being accused of a witch and being exiled from Florence, and I guess we will also see her fall in love, because in, I guess, the more present day chapters, when the plague has finally hit, a boy, Pero, has been sent to find Ginevra, who is in Geneva, there we are. And he brings her a letter written by Ludo, I believe it is, saying what is happening in Florence and asking her to come back. And she is hoping that it would mean that she is wary of why the bishops are asking for her when they exiled her. Like, she's worried this is a trap, and she's too trusting of this person. But unknowingly, he's already dead. He died because of the plague, and we see how in Florence they tried everything to hold off the plague and hold pilgrimages and whatnot, and nothing worked, and they tried and tried again, and it was only when they tried to take the relics out of their cases only to find these potions, these liquid and vials, and everyone who practiced at the places where the relics were held died quite quickly from the plague, and Florence is essentially a ghost town. To be basically, like, it's so empty, there's no one around, people are either dead or are hiding in their apartments, afraid, and that's where Geneva comes in. Like, the Inquisitor of the city is hoping that she will bring some answers, and that it is actually the bishop's idea to make it seem like his nephew ordered and whatnot. And we see the beginning of Geneva come into, not terms, but come into this contract with the person, with the leader. I'm just trying to see, because I don't really, Inquisitor. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued on what will happen next. I am intrigued to see more of her backstory and whatnot. Because so far Geneva, like, I'm not entirely sure if I like her or not, because, I mean, she's done a couple things that are wrong, and it doesn't really seem she's learned her lesson. Like, she was rude to a child who was disfigured, it seems, or disformed in some way, and that caused her to get that evil eye in her, and then she steals a stone that her teacher, that Venera wanted her to give to her cousin at the convent when she arrived. So yeah, I'm not sure about her, but I'm less intrigued on where we will go from here. So yeah, I think that's all for now. So it's the next day, and I've done some work and whatnot, and I've also done some reading of The Stone Witch of Florence, putting me on page 178, and I think so far I'm just finding this fine. I feel like the pacing's quite a bit fast. I just don't really feel anything really for anyone. Like, with Geneva, I should clarify, she is from Genoa, and she came to Florence as a teenager. I got confused yesterday, and I think I thought that she had been born in Florence, had always lived there, so it wasn't clarified until then that she's not originally from Florence. But she comes to Florence, and she learns about, like, what the sisters are doing, how they're helping women who no one else is really able to help, and she learns about her abilities and what she can do, and she's a teenager at this point, so extremely naive, extremely, like, arrogant, I would say, thinking she knows better, in the sense, like, she knows, like, what she can do with the stones can help people feel better, and it's with certain stones that if you put them on a person, it will, like, kind of suck in or take in their illness or their negative energy, their whatever, and she thinks, like, if this is helping people, why can't we make a profit out of it? Why can't we utilize it? And the sister working with her is like, people will be afraid of you. Like, this is against everything they've been taught by the church, that it's not God's way of doing things, it's not God's plan, it's not his method. And she tells Geneva about a time where this astrologist or some academic questions like why earthquakes occurred and if they could occur against this planet, and it caused a lot of consequences. And we see that there's this illness that went through Florence, through the water, and it caused a lot of people to get sick. And Geneva healed a lot of them, and by healing them, she forgot all of the lessons she had and what she saw of this woman being executed in Geneva or Genoa because of she was accused of witchcraft. And she grows so arrogant that she essentially humiliates a doctor who takes revenge upon her, and by taking a precious stone he had and whatnot. And her lover, Ludovico, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, basically saved her because instead of executing her, he pleaded with his uncle to have her exiled, and uncle also had her disfigured by cutting up her nose. And we see how she's exiled and how she goes back to her hometown, and the same illness that was in Florence was in that town, and a lot of people, including her parents, are dead. And we see how she basically is like Vermina, like this gives small cures and doesn't really do anything with her stones, and how she tries to help people, but at times she's unable to until she gets the letter from the Inquisitor, or really from Ludovico, asking her to come back. And I have to say, with the whole thing with Ludovico, it's with what I just explained, it basically was that like, it just felt like it was a bit, I wished we had gone, I don't know, more in depth about it, but like, so I could care, because I just don't really care about her. And with Ludovico and her, I just don't really feel anything between them. Like, it seems like they saw each other and it was like instant lust, essentially, and that, I don't know, it just doesn't really seem like they know one another. And it's only mentioned when she's in a lot of trouble because of the doctor, that he mentions, oh yeah, we wrote letters to one another. Had to change locations as my dad started watching something in the kitchen quite loudly, so yeah, I don't know, I don't really see the connection or the love between Ludovico and oh my god, Geneva. Why did I just forget her name? Yeah, and all along, he had also been promised to someone since he was a child and she had recently come of age and they got married, so that's really the end of that story. And I don't know, in the 1348, which is the more present timeline, we see how Geneva comes across this woman, Lucia, whose husband left after she got extremely sick with the plague, and how Geneva saves her. And the way they talk, it seems like they knew one another from before. Like, I don't know if they were acquaintances or if Lucia had seen Geneva on the street, or if Geneva is this, like, she's this almost mystified legend in the city. Like, I don't really know why we got a section of Lucia introducing herself, but and with Geneva we see how she goes back to the convent where she lived in. She sees how, because of the trouble she was in a few years ago, how it caused the convent to lose money, like people stopped giving funds to them, and so in this way pay. Yeah, that's right, there we are. And she's there the same time as her other teacher, Vermeer's cousin Agnesa, I think that's how you said her name, I don't know, dies while Ginevra saves her and she's unable to, so yeah, now it's time for her to properly investigate, and Ginevra, she has like 3 days to investigate, so not a lot of time. I'm not imagining Florence is so small of a city, and yet she's just starting her investigation. It just doesn't really seem like. I just worry with the pacing of this book. It might be rushed, and so far, I don't know, with the way we watched through her story, I don't know, I just don't really feel anything. Like, this book has, let me just, 360 pages. I'm on page 178, so I have roughly, what is it, like 180 pages left, so yeah, I don't think it will be too rushed, but I don't know, I'm just worried about the pacing. Like, I don't think it's a bad book so far, I'm just not feeling anything towards it, so yeah, that's my thoughts for now, and I think that's all for now actually, so it's the next day, and I've done some reading of, The Stone Witch of Florence, and I'm on page 288, and yeah, I'm just finding this book to be fine. Like, I don't think personally, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I just don't feel anything towards it. Like, I am intrigued about the mystery and whatnot, because from what we've gathered, it doesn't seem like, I don't know, that the motivations of this person is interesting, and it seems like they do have some skill in the sciences to do what they're able to do. But what I've read is that we're just seeing Ginevra and Lucia go around Florence, investigating it. Lucia's pretending she's like a common woman and goes to a tavern to get information. And we see with Ginevra is she just wants to help people and save them, which is good, but there's this she goes to this woman who might have some knowledge about these relics, and her daughter answers the door. The girl's father is dead, and the entire family is struck with the illness, and Ginevra wants to help this girl to prevent her from dying, and we just see how she's kind of obsessed with helping her, which is good, but I'm like, come on, focus on the mystery. So, but then it's revealed that the relics are part of this Divine Nine, I think it was called, which was really used as this, like, not programming, but something to lure pilgrims to come to Florence and make them intrigued. And it seems like this was knowledge that everyone in the city knew, and that the Inquisitor, who was quite drunk when he met with Ginevra, failed to mention. And Ginevra is upset that she had to waste time to learn this. And we see with Lucia, she has good intentions. She means to help. My God! Like, a couple times, like, she is a woman who's been brought up very privileged. Like, she's never had to work a day in her life. She's always had servants to do stuff for her. She doesn't really know how to do anything, and it's coming to show. And Lucia, she is trying to assist Ginevra, but it seems like she just keeps messing up until Lucia just happens to be in the right place at the right time to witness another robbery, in which she witnesses what the guy, what the person is doing, like he is using this potion or this substance to turn the chains locking the relics up to was, and then that was like dissolved into dust. So it's sorry if I heard something. And Ganner and Lucia and Ginevra both heard it from others that people felt this cold in the bones when he's around, and there's this smell that comes off him, and Lucia smells that, and it's very unpleasant, and she's unable to see his face due to the fact he was wearing a hood covering it. So at least they know for sure like how he's doing it, and he is someone who's very knowledgeable with alchemy. And Ginevra, she goes to Inquisitor to meet with him and whatnot, and she reveals what happened, and it seems like they put all of the body parts together, and it looks like this person is trying to put a saint together from different saints, and there's a reason why he's leaving the potions behind, as apparently if you pour the relics over water, it will give some of their power and put in water, but it's very small. And yeah, it's like, what is the overall, like, not purpose, but what is this individual's reason for doing what he's doing, and how is he gonna put together this saint, and how is Ginevra gonna stop him? So, but yeah, other than that, that's really all we know. So yeah, I'm just feeling meh about this book. Like, that's just my general feelings about it. Like, so yeah, I think that's all for now. So I'll see you when I see you. So it's the next day, and I just got back from doing some grocery shopping and whatnot, and I have done some reading today of The Stone Witch of Florence, and I just finished it, and overall I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Like, it was fine, but yeah, we seeing Ginevra and the Inquisitor, the person who kind of got her to help with this investigation, go to this village called San Romaro, I believe it was, to look for the relics after the Inquisitor gets some information, and they do find the grave robber, or not grave robber, the relic robber, who he was cursed with the curse eye when he was, even before he was born, and it causes him to, whenever he looks at someone, that person will get bad luck, or that person, or the animals we see are revolted by him and want to get away from him, and he's blind about it. And it seems like he was not acknowledged, but he was recruited by the priest of Florence to still do relics, to do something to help with the plague, and it's all suspicious, of course. And when they're on their way back with the relic robber and the relics, the priest hired some Swiss mercenaries and arrested Ginevra and the Inquisitor. And it seems like the bishop, he was in a lot of debt, and he also had to deal with debt collectors from other countries in Europe. His, I guess, mission or goal was to accuse Ginevra and now the Inquisitor of the fact that Ginevra's a heretic and a witch, and that a miracle occurred, and that the relics were, like, they appeared in this statue that the bishop put them in, and basically that falls apart with the help of Lucia and our relic robber, and the bishop is just cursed with bad luck, now. And we see that really, like, I don't know, this, we see the Inquisitor give Ginevra, like, what he promised her. And then we get a flash forward, like, to 1925, where this woman, as we see, is being offered, like, this artifact, this book that Ginevra wrote, and it is evidence that she is one of the first physicians ever, and it's, like, inspiring, almost. So, yeah, I don't know, I feel like the priests are villain, like, or villain, I don't know, just, I mean, we do know that he was in debt, that he owed a lot of money, but the way he behaved, it just didn't seem like he was desperate. And I don't know, like, it is, maybe he was plotting when Inquisitor first told him of his plans to bring Ginevra to Florence, but yeah, I just don't really know how I feel, because it just feels a bit like, almost like came out of nowhere. Like, I wish we had seen more, but, and I don't know if I missed something, if we got hints, I don't know, but yeah, overall, 3 stars, like, yeah. And I think I'm gonna talk about what book I'm gonna read next tomorrow, because, yeah. So, it's the next day, and I've done some reading. And the book I'm currently reading is Labyrinth by Kate Moss. And this is about July 2005 in the Pyrenees Mountains near Carcassonne. Alice, a volunteer at an archaeological dig, stumbles into a cave and makes a startling discovery. 2 crumbling skeletons, strange writings on the wall, and the pattern of a labyrinth. 800 years earlier, on the eve of a brutal crusade that will rip apart sovereign France, a young woman named Alice is given a ring and a mysterious book for safekeeping by her father. The book, he says, contains the secret of the true Grail, and a ring inscribed with a labyrinth will identify a guardian of the Grail. Now, as crusading armies gather outside the city walls of Carcassonne, it will take a tremendous sacrifice to keep the secret of the labyrinth. And currently I am on page 70, and so far what I've read is basically what's on the synopsis. We see Alice in 2005 find a ring, or some, not ring, but a book, like a buckle thing, and trying to get to it, she moves this boulder that ends up falling with, due to her not being careful enough to keep it in place. And behind it there's this man-made cave, and she goes in it, and it becomes more than just a simple cave. At some point she falls through something, and it seems like she almost went back in time to the 800 years earlier to Alice in France. And then the past timeline, we see Alice wake up from a dream, and she has this habit of sneaking out of the castle she and her family seem to live in, past the guards to the river, and it seems like she has knowledge on herbs and how to use them for medical purposes, and she utilizes them, and when she is there, she finds this body, and it's not like this person was killed by being robbed, and for some reason a finger on her left hand was cut off. She tells her father this, and he was concerned almost and wanted to see the body, just because he thinks it could be someone he knows. And wow, it is like the Viscount of the of the city they live in, who her father serves, and is only, I guess, a mentor of where I can say, I don't really know. But he is at odds with his uncle, essentially. His uncle was accused of this crime, and seems, while he was in prison, to have sided with the church, as well, really specifically with the Pope, who is the Pope during this time. I could not believe the name of him. Innocent disorder. Is that even him? I have not looked it up to see if that was like an actual person. And the Pope wants to get with the who he believes of the heretics of Christian, yeah. And it seems like people don't want this. They don't like someone deciding how they should do their belief, how they should pray, or how they should carry out their beliefs and whatnot. And people are scared that someone will accuse them of being a heretic, and will cause them a lot of problems, problems for those around them, because they might also be accused of being a heretic if they are, if it's known that they are in relations or they're friends with the accused heretic. And the first come, he plans to try and talk to his uncle, and that's to kind of try and form, not form, and try to talk down his uncle from attacking by making a, not promise, but what is the word I'm trying to think of? With trying to bargain with him, essentially, to not attack him. Yep. And yeah, so far I'm intrigued to see what happens next, and we do see how what is happening in the northern regions of France is affecting those in the southern regions. How already people are distancing themselves from their friends and worried that they'll be in trouble, that they'll be accused of being a heretic if their friend is accused of being a heretic. And yeah. And yeah. I was gonna say, and I don't really know how relevant it will be to the plot, is that we do see how people of different groups, Jews, and I did not, wait, I don't know what I was thinking, my word, let me just, people of different groups are being affected. Where is it? I am. People who are like vagabonds, beggars, gypsies, I know that's how they, but that's what it is in the book. And Saracens, how they're being treated by the police or the guards in the area in the city she lives in, that Alice lives in, compared to everyone else, and how everyone is being treated. And I'm curious if we will see on how the people in the community are affected by what's about to happen. So yeah, I think that's all for now. And since it is Saturday, that also means it's the end of this video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below telling me what you've been up to recently. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those links are in the down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. Bye.